Today, I'm sharing an updated, in-depth Canva tutorial for beginners, and you'll learn everything there is to know to start creating your own designs. No matter what you use it for, whether it's graphics or short videos for Instagram, YouTube, other social media platforms, or your blog and website, Canva has got you covered with some incredible tools and functions, and you can use it for free. Once you watch this video, you'll know how easy it actually is to design with Canva. Ready? Let's do this. Hi, my lovely people, it's Natalia and welcome back to my channel where I help you create better content and grow on social media. This is an update that no one expected, but everyone needs. In today's full, comprehensive, updated Canva tutorial, I'll show you how to create designs from scratch and create video content and animated graphics. Since a lot of things have changed in Canva, I decided it's time to get you confident with all the amazing functionalities it offers to empower you to design yourself. But one thing stays the same, it's still super easy to use and very intuitive, so all of you who are only trying it for the first time now will love it. If at any point you feel like this video is too slow or too fast for you, make sure to click the settings icon and adjust the playback speed. I always try my best to make it as accessible to everyone, but it's not easy to cater to all the learning styles, so that's my tip here. And if you can't watch the whole video at once or just want to learn a particular thing, I've created chapters for you along with the timestamps in the description box, so feel free to jump to whichever segment you like. Also, a quick announcement, I'm working on a more tailored Canva course for beginners that will teach you specific skills in Canva for social media and business so you can create designs that people love. Make sure you don't miss it and sign up on the waitlist through the link in the description. All right, let's go straight to Canva. Now, Canva has a browser version, a desktop app, Android, iOS, other phone and tablet apps, so you can use it pretty much on any device. Today, I'm using a browser version, so I'll go to canva.com, but you can use my link, which you can find here on the screen and in the description box, and it will give you a free Canva Pro account for 45 days, which is 2 whole weeks more than you'd normally get, and you can test out all the fun features. Brilliant, so we're in the browser on canva.com, on the Canva homepage, and the first thing you want to do, of course, is to set up your account. For this to happen, you need to go and sign up with this purple button in the top right corner, and you can start with an email, but you can also go and continue any other way. You can use your Apple account, Google, Facebook, all the other options are here, but I'm just going to start with email. So put your email here in the box and click continue. It's asking for my name, so I'm just going to fill that in here. I can create an account and then a code is being sent to your email. I'm just going to quickly grab it. And just like that, once you enter your code, you'll be asked, what will you be using Canva for? I'm going to just use a small business in here, and you can also go ahead and create a team if you'd like. But for now, I'm just going to hit maybe later. And now you can see the Canva Pro prompt. Again, maybe later, I will definitely explain what the different Canva Pro options are. And then I'm going to just opt out of the newsletter for now, and we are on the Canva homepage. There's definitely a lot going on here, so I want you to first be comfortable with what's happening on the homepage. Now, first of all, we've got the top panel in here. Now, if you click Canva, of course, it's going to always take you back to the homepage. You've got the design spotlight where you can pick out all the different kind of functionalities, also all the different options like print and marketing. You've got business solutions, so content creation, brand management, things like that. You've got the education part for teachers and schools. There are plans and pricing explained, and there's a learn tab. I'll explain it later on as well. Now, in here, you can see that you can open the app if you do have an app, and there's also different kind of account settings in here. There are notifications that you might get if you're sharing links outside of Canva. There's this left panel. This left panel shows you which kind of an account you're on and how many people are within your team. There is a home button. There's a Magic Studio, which is a fairly recent update with different AI features within Canva. And now, very important panel in here is your projects panel. This is where you'll find pretty much everything that you've got within Canva. So your designs, your folders, it's like your organization center, if you will. So you'll be able to find it in here, but of course it will be populated once we create our first designs. If we go back in here, we've got the different templates. Now, templates are definitely something that is kind of the biggest thing about Canva. You don't have to start from scratch every single time you design, especially if you're just starting out in this space. So in here, you've got all the different templates for business, for social media, education. You've got video, marketing, print products, cards, invitations. You also have photos, icons, and there are creators, Canva creators that create all of those different elements like, you know, graphics or again, photos, videos, or templates. So you can kind of follow them from here. You also have your own brand templates, which I'll explain later on when we discuss Canva Pro. And you also have start elements. So throughout Canva, you will be able to start different graphics, elements, templates. So you would be able to find them here. Now, if we go back to this panel in here, you've got the brand. This is your brand management space, which is available for Canva Pro. And then you've got all the different apps. So you've got the content planner, smart mockups, product photos. You have all the different AI apps and non-AI apps that are empowering you to design a bit more in a unique style. Now let's go back to home. Below, again, you're prompted to create a theme in here, and you also have your trash because you will be able to just delete your designs, and this is where you will be able to recover them or delete them permanently. Now, right here in the middle is your search bar. It's not your standard search bar. It's actually powered by AI. So you will not only find your classic keywords, something like, you know, a wedding invitation, for example. It actually helps you design. There's this option within Canva called Magic Design. So it will help find a template for you. But again, I'll show that to you in just a moment. And below, you've got all the different sections that you may need for your business or your social media or any other options that you're using it for. First, you've got for you. So these are all the kind of suggested templates that you may want to use or suggested formats. Then you've got docs. Canva actually has this functionality that works as not only your standard designs and everything, but you also have a Word docs almost. So this is this functionality in here. You've got whiteboards, which is basically the infinite place where you can collaborate with other people or just ideate and brainstorm with yourself if you'd like. There are presentations. So Canva helps you actually present and create beautiful, beautiful presentations for, again, schools or business. Then, of course, the powerhouse that I needed for, so this is the social media panel. In social media, you've got all the different platforms and all the different options to design for them, you know, YouTube thumbnails, covers for Facebook, Twitter posts, everything is here. Then you've got videos because Canva, of course, is not only a graphic design tool, but it's also a video editing tool. So you will be able to create, you know, short form, long form video content, and there are templates for this as well. You also are able to print through Canva. When you design, say, an invitation, you can always send it out to Canva straight from within the editor, and they will actually just print it for you and send it back to you. Super cool option. And there are also websites. So there's a whole deck of all the different features that you may need to use Canva for. And if you can believe it, there's still more things that we might not have covered. It's, you know, book covers, mind maps, data visualization, so many different options that you can find within Canva. And again, every one of those options in here, every one of those sections will have templates suggested for you. So for example, if we go to social media, you can see, you know, different platforms, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, then below you've got the different formats. So Instagram stories, you know, all these different things you can find within here. But I want you to first start with a blank design. Now, there are actually a few different ways in which you can create your own design. The first one and the easiest one is to create a design from this button right here. So first of all, when you click it, you'll actually be able to search for a specific format. So for example, if I want, you know, like a LinkedIn post, I can just put in LinkedIn in here and you'll see all the different options in here with the different dimensions straight away. So you'll know which format you're creating for. apart from that, you can also custom size it. So if I go in here and I know that there is a specific post size that I want or a graphic size, I can just put it in here. So let's say I want something like 1080 by 1350, which is an Instagram post in the portrait resolution. I can just do it from here, but you also have the different measurement styles in here. So you can do it like this, and then you can hit create a new design. Now, this takes you straight into the editor. But hold on, I don't want to just go in and start designing. I want to then show you all the other options. Another option is to actually start with your media. So say you've got an image in mind that you want to start creating with, or you've got a photo that someone sent you and you need to, create a social media post, for example, from it. You can actually just import that file, and that's going to create the dimensions that this media has. So this is one of the options. Another option, of course, is to use one of those templates from here that are suggested within the section, or you can just browse the different parts from the templates panel in here, and then you'll be able to see the actual templates that you may need. So for example, again, let's go to Instagram stories in here in the left panel, and you'll see all the different story templates like this. You'll be able to, see, browse, see if something inspires you. And then once you click on it, you can then customize this template, and that will take you and this template along to the editor. And of course, as I've mentioned, we've got this magic search bar. This search bar pulls up different niche keywords, for example. So if you've got a yoga studio, for example, you can just type yoga studio, and you'll be able to first search for yoga studio. You'll also see the different formats. You'll see yoga flyers, yoga business cards, for example. And this, when you see this magnifying glass with the different stars, this means this is the Canva magic, aka Canva AI at play, and that will allow you to actually, come up with a specific design type, an idea, let's say, and you can also do the same thing for the description. So you can actually say yoga studio, Instagram post for an opening. Whatever, let's say this is something that I want to create, and you can see in here a fresh yoga studio, grand opening, fitness flyer to share on Instagram. I can just click on that, and that's going to take me to, again, something that I've mentioned before, which is Magic Design. This is, again, a fairly new update that we've got, and this is powered by AI. So what that does is that it's going to pull the different templates from the Canva library that Canva thinks will fit the description, and it will create those templates for you. You can also then include the media, so you can upload your own media into it, a video, an image, whatever you like. Then you've got the categories. So for example, if you know that this, is a flyer or a different type, you can put it in here as well. And you can just take a look at what it suggests for you from here. If you like something, you can again customize this template. So as you can see, there are always multiple ways of creating your own design. But again, I'm going to go back to our editor and here and start with a blank page. Now let's start with this little tour that Canva actually gives us when we're creating our first account within Canva. So you can see that we can always start with a template. So even if you pick your dimensions and start from scratch, there is this left panel in here within Design tab that allows you to choose a specific template from here, from the suggestions, or you can actually search for it in here. So if you are creating something from scratch, don't worry. If you don't feel especially inspired within the editor, you can always find inspiration from within the tab in here. Now, the next part is our text and elements. I will discuss this all in just a second because I want you to have this nice overview of what it all is. And then you've got the top panel with the share and download. So let's discuss this now. First of all, you've got the menu in here that lets you, again, navigate to your recent designs. If you've got any folders set up to have Canva nicely organized, I actually have a video about Canva organization, so you can watch it afterwards so that you, set yourself up for success straight from the get-go and never lose any of your designs. This will show up in here. You've got your projects, anything that's shared for you. So it's really cool to help you navigate very easily. Then we've got the home button if you want to come back to it, and then we've got file. Now within file, you've got all the different options that are quite crucial for the designing. You've got settings. So there are certain things that I always have enabled. These are rulers and guides, which really let me focus on, align things perfectly or focus on the different space within a design that I want. As you can see, when you drag it, you've got the lines showing up, and you can see the number shows up in here. When I drag it, you'll see it. So you'll see at what pixel it actually lands. So you can do it from here like this. There's also, again, you can add guides that are very specific. So from here, you'll be able to, choose columns, for example, choose grids, and you can actually go for customs. So say I want this design to be divided into 3 columns without any gaps, without any margins in here. I can set it up in this panel right like this, and it will add those guides for me. As you can see, you can always lock them or unlock them, and this way I will be able to move them around. And if you want to get rid of those, you can just drag them to the sides. And then if you want to create something of your own, again, you just go to your margins and you drag them down like this. I'll show you in a moment what I use it for and why I always have guides enabled. Now, from the settings in here, you also have margins, which will let you create that nicely balanced design. So you will be able to leave that space around your design so that it has the space to breathe. This is a very nice guide for you to have enabled as well. Apart from that, you'll also be able to show print bleed. Print bleed is this option that is often required when you're sending your design off for professional printing. This means that the printer, when it actually prints your design, it has almost like more space of that design so that when it gets cut, it doesn't cut off anything essential, and it allows for that leeway for the printer. So it's very crucial, and this is where you'll find it. You also can check design accessibility. You can change the language. You can save it to a specific folder. Again, organization is very important within Canva. You can make a copy, which is another way to create a new design, almost a new design. You can download from here. You've got version history, which is a pro feature. View all the comments because you can collaborate on designs. If you have people added to a specific design, like in here, I can actually add them from the top like this. You will be able to leave comments, and this way you can collaborate on a design or you can have it approved. All the different options are here, so you'll be able to view all the comments from here. Then you can find and replace text. Then we've got a magic switch. I'll explain it when we go through the Canva Pro options. Then you've got undo and redo. And then you've got the all changes saved option. Now, if you lose internet connection, if Canva is down, if there's anything happening, this is super crucial to always kind of take a look at. The amazing part about Canva is that it saves in real time. So you'll never, ever, ever lose any of your progress, which is super important. But if there's anything wrong, this is where it will show you this. So, take a look at this from time to time. And then we've got the naming. Again, you could see it in here within the file tab. You will be able to change it in here, or very quickly, you'll be able to change it from here like this. So I'm just going to say Instagram post, YouTube tutorial, because this is what we're doing right now. Then you've got the prompt to try Canva Pro. You've got, again, the people that you can add. So you can add access to people. Say you want someone to just view your design, you will be able to add them in here for viewing. They won't be able to edit. If you want to add an editor, you will be able to do it from here as well. You've got the insights, so if someone views it, if you've got engagement on it, links, social media. This is very important for external sharing of your designs. And then you've got this whole magic panel for sharing your design. Again, you'll be able to see people with access. You'll be able to send collaboration links. As you can see in here, only you can access, or anyone with the link can access. Then we've got the template link, which means that you'll be able to save this design as a template for someone else. Again, we'll talk about it later on. You've got presentation, all the different options in here, and this is where you download as well. Now, let's start with the left panel. Now, the left panel is the incredible power that really Canva has to empower you to design yourself. So we've discussed the design tab in here. Again, this is where you'll find all the different templates from within the Canva library that really work for this specific design. So as I mentioned before, from the homepage, you would be able to see all the different templates for all the different dimensions, pull up something specific, but this is the kind of the general library. From here, when you're already in the editor and you have have this specific format chosen, you will be able to only access those designs. And from here, you can, search for something specific. Again, we're staying with yoga for some reason. So let's say yoga studio, and you'll see all the different suggestions that Canva gives you from within here. You also have the color options. So, if your branding, for example, is like this lime green, you can click on it and you'll see the lime green suggestions. Super cool options. Now, within those templates, you'll see that some of the elements will have the crown in here, and that means that this is a pro only option. If it's a template or an element and you don't have Canva Pro, you will be prompted to pay for it later on. So if you don't want to pay for anything, then you would have to choose the ones without those crowns, like this one, for example, or this one in here. You can just choose anything you like this. And then once you click on it, you will be able to see the template style. So you see the fonts and you'll see the colors in here as well. And you will be able to see the different kind of suggested options like this. But I'm going to, again, remove everything from here so that we can start from scratch. Now, apart from the templates, we also have elements, which really is that extensive library. It's a gift that keeps on giving. It's literally a gold mine for any of the elements that you may need to design unique designs for your business. Now, from here, you will have different shapes, you'll have graphics, you'll have animated stickers. There's an AI image generator, which you can use to just prompt it to create something. And then you've got photos, you've got videos, audio, which you can add to your designs. You've got charts, tables, frames, grids, and then all the different suggested, maybe sometimes, seasonal things. Like you can see retro Halloween in here. You've got collections in here, similar elements from artists and different people who create for Canva. So this is a very cool and super useful tab. Then we've got text with different fonts. You've got font combinations and suggestions that Canva gives you. So if you don't feel very great with typography and you don't want to, create something that doesn't really feel professional, you can always pull from something like this in here, and you will have the fonts that really go well together. Then we've got brand. Again, you've seen it from the homepage. In here, we had this brand tab. Brand is an option available for Canva Pro, so I'll discuss it later on in this video. And then we've got the uploads tab. The uploads tab means that you can always upload your own images, your own videos, your own audio. You will have these 3 tabs in here. You can also record yourself straight from here, and then it uploads your file for you. And you can also connect your Facebook account, your Google Drive, your Instagram, Dropbox, all those different assets. Once it connects, you'll be able to see the folders that you've got within that Google Drive, and you'll be able to see the different images. So I've got this image in here, and I can just click from it without having to download it to my drive, then re-upload it to Canva. None of that. You can do it straight from within Canva and just put it on the canvas in here. Now, since it was pulled from Google Drive, you will be able to always see it within your uploads in the Canva account. So you can see that it popped up in here. You can see the name of it. You'll be able to move it to a folder. You'll be able to download it from here as well. So a super cool workflow. You can see from here all the different options that you can connect, and you can always click upload files from here, and you'll be able to upload anything from your computer. Now, next option is draw. We've got the option to actually draw something straight within Canva, the Canva editor. So if I click this one in here, I will be able to just start drawing from here. So if you say have a graphic tablet, for example, or if you just need something, you will be able to do it from here. I can, say NK in here for my initials, whatever. It works brilliantly from within the editor. And then we've got projects. Projects corresponds to this projects tab from the homepage. This is again your headquarters almost for all of your projects, designs, images, anything that you upload, everything you'll find in here. So from here, you'll be able to see the images that you've got within your account. I've just uploaded this one, so it shows up in here. This is our design that we're just working within now. So you'll see the designs, you'll see the folders. Once we create the folders in here, you can start organizing. So let's say I'll say social media in here. and I'll just create this folder, I will be able to then, move this specific design to a folder, to our social media folder, and stay organized this way. So it hides away from here, and then I can find it like this. Again, you've got the tabs, so you've got folders, images, you'll be able to see anything that's shared for you. Super cool option and very, very important for your Canva organization. And last but not least, we've got the apps tab. Now, apps is this incredible place where all the different kind of integrated apps with Canva come to play. You have all the different options to improve your workflow. There are generative apps in here that help you, again, as you can see in here, DALL-E, it generates realistic images using AI. There are so many AI apps from within here as well. If I search Instagram, for example, I will be able to connect my Instagram account to the Canva account, and this way I will be able to just pull images from my Instagram straight to Canva. Super cool option. So many different types of apps that you've got in here. And as you can see, there are two things that appeared here below. So I'll just remove that search from here. Now you see the social media. So this is the folder. So I've pulled up this folder from the projects tab, and just for the ease of use, it shows up in here. If you don't want that folder, just click the X in here and it will disappear. Same goes for Instagram. If you use it a lot within the editor, you can keep it in here, but you can also customize it and you can just delete it. And anything that's kind of below that line that you saw in here, so let's say I want to go back to the bulk create, for example, in here, you can see that there's this line, and that means that this is kind of anything that you've added from within those apps that you may need for your workflow. But other than that, all of those above are always there within the panel. All right, I want to now show you what the actual kind of editor is all about. So I can always hide this left panel away so I can just focus on the editor from here. I also want to get rid of this bleed. I don't need it at the moment. I can get rid of the margins for now. And this is what our blank page looks like. Now, as you can see, when I hover over it, it kind of shows that border, and that means that if I click on it, this is the boundary of my design, and I can actually almost like select a background of it. And once I selected it, as you can see at the top, we've got this almost like a utilities panel. This differs depending on what you're selecting. So I'll explain it one by one once we go through the different elements. And for now, I want you to see, again, you've got the margins, which I've shown you before. Now you've got the duplicate option. So if you've got something within that design and you want a copy of it, but you stay within that same design, you can always go to duplicate page. And from here, you'll see which page you're on. You will be able to add a page title. So for example, if it's like a carousel that I'm creating, and this is page 2, I can just add that title in here. And once I download those files, all of them at once, all of them will have those titles. So it's a super useful thing to note, again, just to be better organized in general. So I can go in here and say carousel number 1, for example. Now from here, once I created more than one page, you see those arrows. So for example, if I want to move that page down, I can just click it in here. You can see that's carousel 1, but it's on page 2. So I will be able to move it back up from here as well. You can hide a specific page, especially when you're showing that design to other people. When you're sharing it to view with others, you'll be able to hide specific pages. Again, you've got duplicate. You can delete a page. So say I don't want that other slide in here. It just deleted it. And you can create a new page from here and from the bottom right now. So I can go to add page like this or add page like that. And this is how you add more and more to your design. Now below in this panel right here, you can see your notes. So for example, if you're creating a presentation, you can actually present from within Canva, and those notes will only be visible to you, and then that presentation will be shown to other people. So it's super useful if you're presenting. Then you've got the page indication that you're on. Then you've got the zoom panel, so you can zoom it out, zoom it in. And then if you click on that percentage in here, you'll be able to, fit it to page. You'll be able to go to a specific percentage. Very, very useful. Then you've got the grid view, something that I use a lot. This is where you see all of the different pages for your design. You can change what they look like. So change their order from here. You will be able to name them like this again. So I'll just copy from my page number 1 and I can add it as carousel number 2, for example, carousel number 3 like this. So you can see that I can kind of rearrange them like that. Very useful panel to be aware of. And again, you can duplicate from here, add new pages. You can deselect this page and all of that disappears, and you can add a new page from here as well. And then if you want to see your design, you can always go to present full screen or just go to full screen basically, and you'll be able to see your whole design from within here. You'll be able to zoom in on it. All those different options are available for you. If you have any issues, if you want to find something that you cannot find within the editor, you've got the help button in here. This is an AI-powered assistant, so it will be able to help you out with your different queries. And we also have the Canva assistant. This is, again, an AI-powered tool. This allows you to kind of add a text box, share with different things. You can search for anything that you'd like. You can search for graphics, for example. You've got all the other options, again, depending on what you've got selected. Perfect. I think we're ready now to start designing from scratch our very first design within Canva. And of course, to start designing from scratch, I need something to put on my canvas. And that takes me to the Canva library, to our elements. Now, the first type of media that I want to show you is the different photos. Now, you've got the photos section right in here, and you can actually go see all, check out what Canva things are hiding in this panel. You also have different keywords above that, you know, maybe suggesting something interesting to you. This is a super cool option, but you can also use the search bar. So say I want something aesthetic, which is probably my most used keyword in Canva. I love it so much. There are so many incredible options within the aesthetic. So if I want to pull something up, I just put that keyword in here, and that pulls up, again, all the different sections for me. So you've got graphics, photos, videos, frames, and then you see above in here as well, you've got those graphics, you've got those photos, so you can filter by those, and we're starting with the photos. Again, you've got further keywords to use if you cannot find anything you like from here. Again, pay attention to those crowns if you're only on the Canva free account, but from here you will be able to pull up anything you'd like. So let's say this image right here is something that I want to use. So as you can see, when I clicked, a lot of things happened at the same time. The most important thing is that our image got added to our canvas. So this is how you add anything to the canvas. You just simply click on something that you want. Then from below, you see magic recommendations. Now from within Canva, there's often more than where it came from. So you have those magic recommendations. You can click see all. And as you can see from that same photo shoot, I've got different images. So if I wanted to, I can just keep on adding those images to my design, keep layering them. And this is how you pull up more from those images like that. You've got those suggestions. Then apart from that, when I actually selected that photo, you can see that from the top, our utilities panel changed. Now I'm going to, again, hide my panel like this and explain what the different options for our photos are. Now, from here, you can go to edit photo at the top. And then you've got 3 different tabs. Now we've got effects, which is full of different tools and effects and filters that you can use. Then you've got adjust, which is almost like your photo editor. You can adjust, you know, the temperature, you can adjust the brightness, for example. You have color edit, you can, increase sharpness, things like that. Very, very useful. Then you've got crop. You want to crop it to a certain ratio. You can do it from here. So say I want, like a square image in here, I can just click 1:1 and that's going to give me that dimension and I can just drag it along. Super cool. You can also rotate and that kind of gives you all that space. You've got the auto in here. And then we've got the flipped option. So you can flip it horizontally, flip it vertically, anything that goes better with your design. You can do it from within here. Very cool option. And then you've got info. This is a very, very important button, something that I use all the time, pretty much on a daily. And this gives me, again, all the different keywords. It gives me all the different options to pull up more of that type of a design. And you can actually see kind of the name of this image. You can see who created it, which is super cool. You actually have, again, Canva creators who are contributing to the Canva library. And if there's something that you really, really like Joanna Motok, I think this is how it's pronounced, from Pexels, if I click on it, you'll be able to see Pexels and see all the different things that they've got. Now, Pexels is a big, big image aggregate. It's not something as detailed, but very often you'll find unique people from within the library. Oh, for example, you've got Daria Minaeva. Again, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And you'll be able to pull up all of her different images, all of her different photos. If you really like this creator, you will be able to go again to that eye, and then you'll be able to start it. So this is why I really love using this I button, this info button. This allows you to do so many different things. For example, if I really love this, I can add it to a specific folders with my favorite assets from the library, and I would be able to quickly pull it up from the projects tab. Very, very cool. Then see more like this opens up the magic recommendations again. So you will be able to see more of that same vibe or the same keywords. And now, as you can see, I've just added an image that is a pro image. This is what happens when you've got a free account and you actually use a pro image. It says remove watermarks, and if I click on it, you will be actually prompted to purchase this premium element. The same thing would happen if I went on to download it. As you can see from here, I can click download, and again, you would be prompted to try it for free for 30 days. Again, with my links, you get 45 days, and you would have to pay for it unless, of course, you go ahead and purchase Canva Pro. Now I'm going to delete that one from here, and let's explore further in terms of what this utilities panel has for us. Now, the next option is our border style. Any image, any media that you add from the library or any of the ones that you upload yourself, you will be able to kind of manipulate in different ways. So you will be able to add a border. For now, it has none. I can go for this style of a border or, a dashed one, a dotted one. You can play around with it. Now we've got the border weight from here. As you can see, it kind of takes from within the image like this. So I can add it like that. And then when I went for this option in here, you can see that at the top, another button popped up, and that's the border color. Again, I would be able to adjust it from here. So say I want to pull any of the colors. Now, the color options are super cool within Canva. You can actually pull up anything using a keyword. So let's say, again, I want that blue that it's suggesting to me. Not only does it actually search for the kind of true blue, but it also shows you all the different palettes that you can, pull from, and that can serve as a helpful tool for you to design with preset colors for you. Then you actually have the color picker. So from here, you will be able to choose a specific color by pulling on those slides. You also have the hex code to insert. So if you've got a specific hex code that you want to use, you can always Control V in here, paste it in here, and then you'll be able to use it like this. And then I can pick a color from the design. So if I choose that color picker and say I want that delicious coffee from here, I can just click on it like this and it pulls that color. As you can see, the border changed. It's not that visible from here, but if I go for this like soft sweater, it changes to gray. So this is how you play around with it. And you also can create your own gradients. So, you can see that border changed into a bit of a gradient. If I click, you should be able to see it slightly like that. These are different styles of gradients. You can change the gradient colors. So if I want to create something a little bit more like that, I want that to be a little bit more visible for you. So I think this is a good idea that I'm actually doing it. And then when I change that style, you will be able to see that gradient kind of goes around this image. And then you also have the option to add more colors to your gradients. You can always readjust it when you hover over that gradient that you've just created. If you click on it, you will be able to go back to it. If you don't quite like the color that you've chosen, you can always go back and adjust it. If I go away and click away, that's going to disappear from this panel in here, because the colors within Canva, this first section in here shows the colors of the document, as you can see. So if you remove something from the document, it disappears completely. Now, another cool option for the colors is photo colors. Any image that you add to your design, again, whether it's from the library or something that you've uploaded, it will be able to pull those colors from. So this is super cool to stay in that cohesive vibe for the document. You'll be able to choose it from here. You also have the default colors and some samples of the gradients from the Canva library that Canva suggests for you. Now, this is a border style. Of course, we will be able to use it later on for different options. So let's go back in here into our border. I'm going to remove it for now because I don't want that, but you will be able to also adjust corner rounding. This is super exciting because sometimes you don't want those harsh lines. And as you can see, once I drag this slider in here, it will create a rounded vibe for it. So it's super cool that we can do it again to any of the media from the library and any of the media that you upload yourself. Next, we've got the option to animate. Actually, you can animate anything within the Canva editor, which is super cool if you want to create an animated graphic or a video. So you can do it from here, but I will explain it later on once I create an animated graphic. Now let's move on to another crucial button, something that I can guarantee you'll be using consistently when you design, and that's the position tab. Now, the position tab shows up for, again, any of the elements, any text, anything that you add to your design, and it allows you to arrange your elements neatly, and it helps you design better. So first of all, we've got the Layers tab. Layers tab is super cool because it lets you just rearrange your elements like this. As you can imagine, if you've got plenty of different elements, sometimes it will be very hard to select them, or it will be very hard to kind of layer them, because if I go back to arrange from here, I will be able to push it forward, push it backward. If you've got multiple elements within your design, it's much easier to use the layers from here. You can see some of the overlapping ones. So if something is, over something else, you will be able to quickly pull it from here. A very neat option. And then this align to page is super cool because it allows you to, again, center it very neatly. Whether horizontally or vertically, you'll be able to, align it to the top, to the bottom, to the right. Super cool because it's one click and it allows you to do it. Then you can change the width, the height, the ratio, for example. If you want to keep the original dimensions, you can just kind of lock it in here, all the different options. You can also rotate from here, but let me show you how you can actually do it from within the canvas as well. Now, this is our positioning, but as you can see, when I have something selected, I can drag it around the canvas and sometimes different lines appear. Now, this is super important because, again, it allows you to align things neatly and it allows you to have that space. So first of all, you can see this rectangle that showed up in here when I kind of hovered over a certain area. This actually kind of sticks to it, as you can see. So I'm adding it and it's kind of dragging along that line, and that allows you to align it perfectly. And this rectangle is actually the margin of this element of this page. And this, again, allows for that negative space, which means you don't kind of cross the margins too much, and it gives a nice balance to your design. But also this aligning is really helpful to guide you with your elements so that you always align them neatly. For example, if I wanted both of those elements to be aligned to the same line at the top, I can just drag the other one, and as you can see, they're both on the same line in the same place. So super cool and super useful. As I drag this element to my right, this line appears, and this line indicates that it's the perfect center. Now, when you have a line that is completely solid like this one, this refers to a whole page. Now, if I drag it further to the right, you can see that sometimes I'll see this little line going across my design, and it's a dashed line. Actually, I know it's super tiny, but you should be able to see it within your Canva editor. And that means that this is aligned to a different element. So this is a page. Again, it aligns with a solid line. just like this, either horizontally or vertically, just like that. This is the perfect center. You can see it as a reference to your whole canvas. And then if I drag it, you see the dashed line. So the solid one that goes across, that's referring to the design, the page. And then this one is for the element. Super important to know how you maneuver across your design. As you can see in here, this aligned to the center with regards to the second photo. If I drag it up and then I choose this one, you can see this little dash line appear at the very bottom. And this means that it's aligned to my element. Super cool. And across the board, it will always show you those different lines. And this allows you to, again, design much more neatly. Apart from that, we have 3 more buttons. This is the transparency. So if I just go in here, I can change the opacity. Very useful tool if you're, layering the different things, or if you want a more neutral effect. Then you've got copy style, which won't apply in here, but I'll show that to you when we deal with text. And then you can lock an element. Locking an element is super crucial, especially when you have, again, those multiple elements in here. And if you don't want to drag something by accident, I can always lock it. This will just keep that position. And as you can see, I won't be able to drag it. And when I select, it won't select it. So it's super cool, very useful if you just want to keep these elements in place and not, work with them, not select them and not remove them in any way. Very cool. If you want to unlock, just click in here. As you can see, the utilities panel changed a lot. The top panel changed, which means that you won't be able to also accidentally change something about this element. So if I want to unlock it, I can just go in here, or as you can see, this unlock button appears, hovers above our elements. I can always click in here and just free it up. Okay, we've got those 2 elements. Actually, for the copy style, I've just remembered I can actually show this to you in action for this image because I've actually changed the borders in here. So I can just copy style, go in here, and it just adjusted the corners exactly the way this one is. So it's super cool to keep a neat image like this. Now, if I want the 2 elements to be the same size, I can always drag it from the size like this. And this way it attaches to it. As you can see, again, the line appears above, and this means these are both same size. So that is super cool, again, especially if you're layering. And then if you want to crop it in any way, you need to use these panels in here. So these are the different buttons on the sides. So if you drag through the corners, you're always retaining the same aspect ratio. You're still retaining the original dimensions. But if I go like this actually crops my image. This applies again to kind of elements that are croppable and different things like that. And if I drag it kind of beyond the border, it's going to stretch it out, but keep the sides, if that makes sense. All right, I've added those 2 photos, but what if I don't really like what's underneath it? What if I don't like this blank page in here? Well, again, if I just tap on that page, you can see that utilities change. Again, I can animate, I can change the duration, change the timing, which applies to videos. So I would be able to adjust how long the specific page lasts. I'll show that to you when I edit videos. Then you've got the position again, and then you've got the copy style. If I want to change the color in here, again, you've got the same kind of vibe in here as I've shown you for the image borders. So I can change the design background color from here like this. And there's also another option to actually use any of the images as the background. So if you have something already within your design and you want that to be the background, you can right click it. And as you can see, this panel shows up and it's got all the different options that you can use within the editor. So you can copy, you can paste, you can duplicate, delete, all the classic stuff. The layering and aligning, which you know from the position tab, is available from here as well. So it allows you to very quickly send something, backwards or to the front when you're using this panel. Alignment is in here, comments, linking. I'll show that to you in a moment. A lock, alternative text for accessibility. And then I've got this lovely thing, which is called replace background. If I click on it, you can see that Canva attaches this to our background. I can just remove that other one, and this replaced my background. If I click on it, I also have these options that I would for a photo, but it's already attached to the background. If I wanted to go back, I can always hit delete or just click that delete, that trash can in here, just like that. And that goes back to the original background color like this. Now, something super cool about photos or elements that you overlay, as you can see, if I want to detach that image from the background, I can always do it like this. And now I'm still having that background color, right? So if I replace that background again, and if I go to that photo and I change the transparency, so I drop it, as you can see, it doesn't go back to the white, it goes back to that background color that I've selected before. So this is super cool if you want to maybe darken your image, if you want to brighten it slightly. These are all the different options that you can play around with if you want to make your background a little bit more interesting. So a little tip from me here. Okay, enough with the photos. Now we can move on to using elements within Canva. Now I actually want to create something completely from scratch. So now you'll learn how to layer all the different elements from within the library to create something unique. Now, if we go back to our Elements tab in here, you will be able to see the recently used now. Since we've already used some of the elements, in this case, photos, you will be able to see all from here. And if there's anything down the line, if you're designing, 5 days from now, a week from now, and you remember, oh, I love that one photo that I've used like a week ago for that design, or I love that creator, I can always go back to my recently used and maybe pull it up from here. Or if I want the specific person that actually uploaded that to the Canva library, again, I can pull them up from the 3 buttons, or I can just add it to my design again. All those different options are available for you from the recently used tab. Now, I want to create a social media post in here. Let's say I want to create something that actually has a phone that has an image within it. Now, there are different options in which you would approach it. Now, I can go to the search bar in here and go for phone and just search for it. Again, as you can see, we've got these sections in here or sections down here. And within the graphics, you will be able to see just the different kind of icons in here, but I also will be able to go to photos, for example. And sometimes you have cutout elements within the Canva editor, and these serve as frames. So this is a graphic element that I can definitely use within my editor. This is, again, watermarked. I can use the free one in here, as you can see, like this. And this is just a frame that you will be able to add, but you can kind of overlay stuff below it, if that makes sense. So if there's something like a photo that I want to add, let's go back to our recently used photos. Let's say this one, for example, I can try to manipulate it slightly so that it fits that frame. So as you can see, I'm just trying to adjust it just like that. And I'm trying to crop it. And this is where this layering comes to play below. So I can just send it backwards. And these two, as you can see, serve as this beautiful kind of photo frame. Now I can move this around, but what if I don't want to move it around? What if I want both of these to actually go together? Well, there's a very important function within the Canva editor, and that's called grouping. Now I can just drag and select both those elements, and that's going to allow me to do it. I can select the two and hit group like this. Now that's going to allow me to just move it around as if it was one element. Now, if I take a look at it a little bit more closely. Now, I know I'm probably being a little bit too pedantic, but as you can see on the zoom, which I've used from the bottom in here, there is a bit of a corner in here, just kind of, sticking out, and I don't quite like it, right? So I can go back, select that whole element, and I can ungroup it. You can see that if I want to select something underneath, that's always selecting this phone because it's overlaying stuff that's below. So again, I can go to position in here, and then I can go to layers, just something that I've mentioned before. So this is how I access that layer below very quickly. And then I can go to that border style and again, adjust that corner rounding. As you can see, it goes beyond that border just like that. And as you can see, this little thing is just sticking out in there. So you can just adjust that corner rounding and again, select both of these, group, and I'm satisfied. This is how it works within Canva. So that was one way of using an element that was actually a photo or a cutout, but actually there's another way to do something like this. And from within the elements, you can scroll down to see frames. Now, frames are super, super powerful because they serve almost like placeholders in different shapes that you can overlay those photos on top of. So this is one type of a graphic element from within Canva. Say I want something kind of irregular, like this kind of a frame in here. I can just click on it as I've just done in here, stretch it out so you can see it clearly. If I wanted to add something to this whole frame, I would just click on it like this, or I would just drag it like that to the editor. But if I want to insert it into a frame, I just drag it on top of that frame. And as you can see, when it's selected around and I just drop it, this just gets inside that frame. Super, super cool. And you can use it in so many different beautiful ways. Now, as you can see from here, I can always right click it and detach it just as I would from the background, and our frame is free. Now, if I want that phone again, I can always go to frames in here and I can search for a phone because there are different phone frames in here. I can also go and search for a laptop, for example, laptop frame in here, and you've got different laptops that you can use. So this is super useful. And as you can see, there are so many different beautiful frames which you can use to, again, create more unique designs. You can overlay videos or graphics within those letters in here. And again, I want to design something with that phone. So let me just pull it up. Again, I've got this one in here, this one, maybe something like this I will use for this design. Again, let me position it, center it like this, then I'll drag it kind of above like that. And if I want to search for another photo to put inside of it, there's actually a great way to pull up your favorite creators or a specific collection within the Canva library. So I don't have to just go for, again, as I went for aesthetic, but if I wanted to say woman, for example, I can go like this, go to photos, and I can search for something that I really like. If I like this image in here, I can just drag it into the frame like this. But what if I want more? This is Mikhail Nilov, so I can just go for his stuff in here and I will be able to see it like this. But some of the images, I don't know if this is the one that will have it. Within the eye, within the info, you'll be able to see view collection. Now, this is not a part of a collection, so it's not really highlighted in here, but I actually have a specific set that I want to search for. So I'm just going to paste set with this code in here, and that's going to find a specific image collection that I want to use. So in this case, it's this beautiful series of portraits of this wonderful woman in here, and I can just use those designs and keep them consistent across the board. So the way I pulled up that brand code, if I just remove it completely from here, and if you happen to find something that you really, really love and you know that there are more, so if I go to info in here, I can go see more like this, and I'll see, oh, this looks like something from that same photo shoot in here. You will be able to either check that photographer, so Vlada in this case, I could just click on here, or I can go to I again and go for view collection, and you can see that pulls up that set code. So if I copy that set code, and again, this is exactly what I've done from before. I knew the set code, so I can just paste it in here, and that's going to pull up all those beautiful images in here. I'll put them in here and in the description box so you can see what it looks like, and go ahead and follow me on Instagram because I always share some Canva tips in there as well. Now, I've already added this to my editor, so I can just drag it across that frame, and that pulls it up to be put inside in here, so I can use it within my design. Now, different sets of elements serve different purposes. For example, in here, I've got shapes. Shapes are super, super useful because they have more abilities in terms of what you can do with them. They're different from kind of graphics. You have those graphics in here like this, you know, different frames, different kind of recommendations I've got for this one. So if I wanted to add something like this to this design, you can see that I've got kind of different options in terms of what I can do with them. I think it treats this one as an image, so this is not actually a graphic. Let me go and search for something like foliage, for example. Oh, here it goes. Perfect. These are graphics actually, so I could use a free graphic like this one. This is more like an image almost, so you can just kind of adjust it from here. But there are also graphics like this one, and these are vector graphics, which means that you will be able to edit them further from within Canva. So for example, in here, if I click, I will be able to adjust the border style, but from here, I will be able to edit this image. I will be able to crop it, again, flip it as before. I see this eye, so I'll be able to see who created this. I will be able to also adjust the color. So you can see that I can change this border like this. And if I want to choose something from that photo or from this element, I can just change it like this. I can change all of the black colors from within that design to that green, which is super useful if you're in the process of designing and you have multiple elements and you've chosen the colors for them. And then you think, actually, maybe this black is a little bit too harsh for my design. Maybe I want something a little bit different. Maybe this green is better for this design. You don't have to go back to all those different elements. Let me actually show you. So if I change it back to black, okay, and I go to this green color in here, or maybe red so that you can see it more clearly, I can just click change all, and that even changed that frame. So it changes everything within your design that is changeable, and it's an element to that red color, which is a super useful functionality if you're, designing within Canva. Now, again, this one won't have it because it's more like a photo almost. And then this is our element, our graphic element. You've got all the same options in here, apart from the color. You also can add a border to this. You can add a border like that to your design. So again, same options apply to the different media that you pull up from the elements library. Now I'm going to remove these two elements and I want to use the shapes. I've talked about shapes. They are quite interesting. You can change those shapes into kind of different modes. So for example, if I add a circle like this, and then down the line, if I change my mind and I want to maybe change it into something else, I don't have to go to the elements and actually pull up a different shape. I can always just go to that shape here at the top and just change it. And this applies, again, not to graphics, not to photos, but uniquely to those shapes from the shape section within the elements tab. Now I want a square, a rectangle in here. From that square, I can actually change it into a rectangle by dragging the sides. Remember, I said corners, they just change the resolution. If I want to retain that specific resolution, I can just hold shift and that's going to see, it's just the way it would work in all the other programs. I can just do it like this, or I can create a shape like that. Now, let me just adjust it like here. Just drag it like this because I want to create something kind of in the background that's going to look a little bit like this. Perfect. And I'm just, as you can see, I'm kind of stretching it out. Now, what I've done in here, I've used Canva for many, many years, so certain things come very automatically to me. I've just duplicated that specific element. So let me show you how I've done it. So you can always go and click right and go to copy and paste, but that takes a long time. I will mention shortcuts later down the line, but as you know, this is a classic shortcut that you know from all the other places on our laptops. So you can go to Control or Command C and then Control or Command V, whichever operating system you use. And that's going to just add it to your background like this. Now I've just deleted it, and there's another super quick option to actually duplicate your elements. I don't need to go and duplicate from here. I can actually just hold Alt and just drag, and that's going to duplicate that element and just send it my way as much as I just drag it along the board. So I can just use these two like this, and I can choose a specific color for them. I can change them later on, but I want to send these two to the background. Now, if I want to select both of them, I could go like this, but as you can see, it selects the frame below. So I can just click on one, hold shift, and click on the other. I could also just go to the position tab here at the top, and then I could just change the layer from here, which I'm going to do now since it's super easy in here. I've selected both of them from here, again, by using, I think shift. Is it shift? Yes, it is shift indeed. And I've just dragged it to the back, and this is kind of the effect that I went for. Now let me click back to that shape to show you the other options that we've got. So again, we've got the color, we've got the borders, we've got the text. Let me just change the color for these two because I think it's a little bit too harsh for my liking. I want something a little bit more delicate, and I do have a color, a hex code in mind. So this is again me presenting how you change the hex code for the specific elements. I just pasted it over here, and it just changed that image, that shape color from within here. Now, if I go back to that second color, I can go in here and this color will show up in my document colors from here. So I can just quickly pull it up. Now, I realized I didn't show you how you can actually rotate it. I just went and rotated elements. So when you select your frame, you will see this little icon in here. Sometimes when it's already rotated, it's in different places. Usually when you have, something like this in here, you will be able to just drag it from the bottom. This is the default position, of course. So I can rotate that element like this. So again, just this little icon. So you select it, this little icon in here, and it shows you the degrees as well, which you would be able to also access from the position tab at the top. Then if you go to arrange in here and you see the rotation. So if I I selected something else and it's rotated to minus 28.8 degrees, which is super useful if I want to rotate other elements to the same exact degree. Another way in which shapes are super unique. So as you can see, if I double click on my shape, there's actually this little text line that appears. I know it may not be seen very clearly in here, but I can say something like book now. And as you can see, it appeared right in the middle of my text. Let me just change the color of this text. So at the top, you will see the different text options show up. I will explain it further when we add just standalone boxes, but you can see the text color from here. I just will change it to black so you can see it very clearly. And then I can make it bigger from here. And you can see it's kind of in the middle of that shape. The same goes for lines. Lines are considered shapes, but they do have different options. So if I add a line like this, I can just go to change the line color. I can change the weight in here, and I can change the style as before. This is quite a big weight, so you won't be able to see the dash. So if I just go like this, you will be able to see it. So you've got different options for this. You can also add rounded endpoints, so they're not as harsh. As you can see, this is a more kind of, less harsh line like this. And I can also change the ends. So this is how you can create an arrow actually from within Canva. If I, again, drop that line weight, that little arrow shaft is changing a little bit. Then the other end can be something different. I can just leave it as is, or I can add this or create a kind of double-ended arrow. So many different incredible options within the lines in here as well. And there is also something that's very useful, especially for Canva whiteboards, and that's straight or elbowed lines. Let me remove that end from here and show you what it does. If I go for elbowed, I've got this line, I'll stretch it out like this, and then you can see that this popped up. This is not actually a part of the element, because if I click away, this disappears. So these ends just indicate the ends, and this one is that elbowed effect. So if I just drag that like this, you can see that it creates that little kind of fun elbowed line, and then I can kind of keep pulling like this, and it keeps creating those elbowed kind of elements, and I can keep creating that very convoluted line, which is super useful when you're creating your own graphs or you're creating connections between elements. Very, very useful in terms of our lines. Again, animation, position, all of these things you know very well. So I'm going to create something kind of thicker in terms of that line. I'm going to just stretch it out both sides. So I've done it by dragging one side. Normally, if you just do it by one side, it drags from one. But if I just drag this one and hold Alt, that's going to simultaneously drag both of the ends on both sides. So I can just do it like this. And let's say I want to create almost like a panel. Maybe I need to just drag it a little bit like that, so it's not as harsh in terms of the angle. And I can change that line. And if I want to you know, maybe kind of stretch it like this. I can do it in here. And then I'm going to, again, go to the top to change the line color. I have something in mind again. I could kind of play around to find something that I like, but I do have a color for, let's say, that specific brand. So I'm going to put it in here. This is what I want. And I can just kind of adjust that angle. Again, something that I've mentioned before, when I went to position, so again, selected that shape below that lovely kind of greenish element, and I went to rotate, and that was minus 23.6 degrees. I can go to the line. You can see that it's not quite the same. So I just, you know, selected the two. It still stays within that position tab. You can see that this number in here is different. So I can just match it by just pasting that specific number in here, and it's kind of perfectly aligned. Okay, so I've repositioned my shapes ever so slightly because I just wanted it to be much more nicely balanced. I'm just going to copy that one. And again, do the same thing for my rotations. I'm just going to go for position, copy that digit in here and just paste it. Oh, that's the one that I want. Paste it in here, just to reposition it kind of nicely. Maybe I want it somewhere in here like this. Okay, now we can move on to our text. Now, if you want to add text to your design, you only need to go to the text box and you can just hit add text box. These are default text styles. If you have your brand kit set up, you will have different fonts in here. And again, as I've mentioned before, you will be able to pull up the different text styles from here. Now, if I just click on a heading in here like this, this pulls up this text box from here, and I will be able to change the fonts, the size, the color. I can make it bold. I can make it italics, you know, underline. All those options are available in here. This one is the uppercase as well, which is super useful very often. This is where you align your text. So you can align it to the left, align it to the right. You can justify it as well. And then you've got the numbering. This one is super important. This is our spacing. So let's say I've got 2 lines in here. So let's say new masterclass, and I can say today. It's fine just for this presentation. I can actually just go to the, first of all, to the spacing tab. And then from here, you will be able to first adjust. I just want to make sure the whole thing is selected. Now, from letter spacing, you will be able to increase or decrease the spaces between the individual letters, or I can actually change the line spacing so that today can go closer or further away from the first line. Now, this is very important because a lot of the times I see people who are just starting out with design and they will not adjust that line spacing, and very often it's actually too far away. So this line spacing, for nice balance, it's a super important thing to kind of always be able to adjust. I'll just do it like this. As you can see, just because I had this line clicked, it only did it for 1, which you can do within Canva. So for example, if I wanted only this text to not be bold, I can actually just do it like this. So you can maneuver and play around with your text boxes. So if I want to change this whole thing to uppercase, you can see that these now became a little bit too close. So I can again go back to line spacing and adjust it like that. From here, I am going to change the font. So you can just click on this panel in here once you have your text selected, and this pulls up a font panel. Now, fonts panel is super important because you have so many different text styles that you can apply to your graphics. Now, within here, again, you've got document fonts. So you have, if you have already implemented any text boxes within your design, you will be able to see the previously used document fonts from this panel in here. Then you've got brand fonts, which are again connected to the brand kit. And then you've got popular fonts. Again, looking at the crown, you see which ones are only available for Pro and the ones that are available for free. So I can choose something like Arapae in here, for example, and just not make it bold. This is quite a cool look. I really like it. You can always pull up something. So for example, if I don't have a specific font in mind, but I want the style, you can see that it says try calligraphy, but you also have these different kind of options in here below. So you can see rounded, modern, elegant, vintage, retro, so many different keywords that you can use to find really nice different styles of fonts. So let's say I want elegant from here, and that's going to, first of all, show me the suggestions for different keywords that I can try for my design. And you can also choose from here. If I have a specific font in line, I can go for Quincy. This is a pro only option, so I won't be able to use it on the free account. I'm going to stick with Arapae in here. And as you can see, some of the fonts have this little arrow right next to them and some don't. This means that this font, if it has an arrow next to it, is actually within a font family. So if I just toggle that font in here, you can see that there's a regular and then there's a bold option. Okay, I found a font with a font family that has other options like light, regular, and bold. So you can see what it does when I click on it. And actually, if you look for the classic Times New Roman, you'll actually be able to see that there are more and more options available within some of the family fonts. So sometimes when you're trying to use kind of that bold and you're looking for something a little bit more extra, check within the fonts if that font family has other options available. Okay, perfect. I'll go back to the seasons. I can actually stick to that one, and I would just want that in regular. Now I can just drag it from the sides to make it smaller. So I don't need to rely on this decrease font size, although you can be quite kind of precise with it if you want. I can change it to a nice round number because I am like this. And I can just make it slightly smaller, just like that, somewhere in here. Now, if I want to add another text box in here, I could just go to the text box from here, but I can also just hit T on my keyboard, and that's going to pull up another generic text box. For this text, I'm going to just select it. Let me just zoom in so that you guys can see it a little bit closer. Don't quite like that frame. I think I'm gonna change it up later on, but it's okay. Now, if you see how the text box behaves, it's pretty much like in any other kind of text-based editor. I can just go in here, and if I just select it once, you'll be able to see all the options above. But if I want to change something, I just need to double click, select the whole text, and I'm going to say public speaking, confidence, and personal branding for this new masterclass. And I can just not make it uppercase because I don't want it to be in uppercase. And I can drag it from the sides just to make sure that it's adjusted to my text box above. And actually, if I want to make both of these text boxes slightly bigger, if I decide that this is something that I want to be higher up, and I can see from here that this is actually not aligned to the center, which means that I can actually go back. So I went Control Z. I could also have gone to undo from here, so I can redo and undo. You can see it from here. Remember, I've just aligned all of these, and I know that these three are now not centered. So I can just select all of them by dragging like this, and I can just move all of those elements at once to just align them perfectly to the middle. And I also want to add another text for our kind of little elements in here below. So I'm just going to, again, hit T like this, drag it out like this, and I can say book now. Now from here, I'm just going to change the color. Again, I have a specific color in mind. I'll go for something a little bit more cold. I can go to actually bold it now, I think maybe. Now I could just copy those text boxes over, but I think I'm just going to kind of copy the text. So I can say book now. Now I've pasted more and more just to create more of that text in here. But as you can see, it just created a separate line. So all I need to do is to stretch out this text box from here. And of course, I want to actually stretch it out to the left and to the right. So I'm just going to hold Alt, and that will simultaneously do it for you. That's kind of big enough, I think now. And as you can see, it kind of snaps into place. So I can always zoom in. And one way of easily maneuvering on the canvas is actually to select your element, and you can actually use arrow keys to just push it kind of down and up. So you can use, I've just tapped the arrow keys, and that's going to kind of drag it lower and higher. And that way you can slightly kind of align it much more nicely in that way. And now we have this element in here. Let me just go to zoom and to fit because I don't like how zoomed in that is. I actually don't like that it's bold, so I'm just going to go back, and I think that's much more nicely balanced. Now I can just hold Alt and drag it to create another one of those. So now what I could do again is to just select it and push it, or just go to layers and position it. So I'm just going to select that element and drag it below, because I want it not below this one. Oh, actually that one is above. So I need to drag this bit from here above, and this is how easy it is to work with those layers. Now, super cool. I've got my design in here. I actually am gonna swap out this frame because it bothers me. Okay, I've moved things around. I adjusted it slightly to balance the whole design a little bit better. So I want to show you a little trick, because this is an Instagram post and it's in the portrait ratio, so 4:5. And that again means that it's 1080 pixels by 1350 pixels, which means it's not going to show as a whole on the profile. On our profile, it always shows up as a square. So I want to make sure that everything is within those boundaries in terms of that middle square. So how do I do it? Again, by using guides. This is exactly why I said that I always use guides within my design. First of all, I'm going to make sure that they're enabled, and they definitely are. Now what I can do to make sure that this is definitely that middle kind of rectangle that it's going to be retained, I can actually go to my square shape, or actually you can use a shortcut. So you can hit R for a rectangle, and that's going to pull up, first of all, a square, because this is how it works when you first add it to your screen. I'm just going to hold Shift and hold Alt from the right in the middle. I'm going to drag it just like this to make sure that it extends to the boundaries of my design. And as you can see within that highlight, the width and the height are 1080 each, which means that this is a perfectly square shape, which is definitely what I want. I'm going to let go, but not do anything. Just to make sure that this is positioned correctly, I'm going to go to position and to arrange. And then we've got middle and center, which means that these are definitely aligned perfectly. It's also aligned to left and right, which means that on both sides it's actually attaching, which is great. This is exactly what I want. And now I want to drag from my margins. So from here, I'm going to just go for the ruler. And as you can see, this purple line, when I'm dragging it, it's purple, but when it attaches to something, it changes to pink, and it's perfectly aligned with my square in here. So I'm just going to let go, and that shows up. You won't be able to see it just because this is quite dark. I'm gonna maybe change it in here, and you will be able to see that there's a little purple guide right here. And then I'm going to drag it all the way down to my square again, make sure that it turns pink so that it's attached to the correct element, and this is where it lands. Now I'm going to remove this, and you can see in here that this shows the boundaries of my design. Now, I know that very often you won't be able to really imagine what it would look like on your Instagram profile. So my favorite trick in here is to just add that shape back. So I'm going to add my rectangle into the editor, drag it to my new guide so you can see that it attached. So let me just go back. As you can see, I dragged it and then it turned pink, which means that it's attached to something. That little guide is now highlighted. I'm letting go, stretching it out to the side. You can see that again, that pink showed up on the side, which means that it's attached. It's perfectly filling that space. Now I'm going to duplicate because I want to do the exact same thing at the bottom. I've duplicated by holding Alt, and I'm going to try to attach it to that same guide. Perfect. Now you can see that these go above, so I can go to position, push it to the front, and now you can kind of start to see what it's going to look like. But another tip from me is that you can actually use that same color from the background of the Canva canvas, and you can use it for that square. I can just go to my shape, go to the color at the top, and again, go to add new color. So I'm just going to color pick from my background in here. That's perfectly changing that color for my box in here. I can just go to copy style and apply it to my other rectangle. And as you can see, it kind of blends with the background, and you can see what this design is going to look like as a square. Let's say I'm happy with it. I could always kind of hide the rulers and guides by using Shift R so that it's just not showing me that purple. And this way I can see it kind of almost blended. If you squish your eyes a little bit, you will be able to see what it looks like. Super cool trick for your Instagram posts. We wouldn't want to go beyond that guide in here, in which case some of the text might have been, cut off or something, and it's not what we want, definitely. Okay, moving on, I have actually created this little design off screen to save us some time, but I do want to show you some of the useful things that you may want to know as a beginner. The first thing you need to know is to show you how to upload. Now, uploads, I've shown you before how to do it from Google Drive. So if you go to the left panel in the tab for uploads, you will be able to see this purple button for uploading files. If you click on it, you can pull up anything from your own drive, and you can also go to the three dots to see the different apps that you can connect. Now, if I go to upload files from here, I can just select anything that I want to upload and hit open, and this way it's going to upload in the panel in here. You can see the sliders slowly moving with this lovely Canva gradient in here, which indicates which files are already fully uploaded and which are still uploading. And this little nice animation in here shows you that it's still being processed, but you would be able to use them straight away without having to wait. Now, what I can do, these are all the frames, and I can still start dragging from here just to fill those elements. Now, if I want to upload it again, I could simply just go to a folder, and I just need this one, and I can just drag it into Canva. You can just drop files anywhere to upload them. I'm just going to do it like this, and you can see that it's actually uploading it nicely. So you've got it nicely balanced. Another cool tip that I've got for you is that you can actually just copy stuff into Canva. So if you have something selected anywhere else and you copy it to your clipboard by using Control-C or just right-click and copy, if it's an image or a video or a file of a type that Canva can recognize, you can just Control-V, and that's going to paste it into it. Now, what I'm going to show you in here is how you can do it from a website. Now, I went to unsplash.com, which is a great website to source free images, something that you can use yourself. Make sure that when you're using the method that I'm going to be showing you, that you do have the right to actually use those images. We're all about, respecting licenses and respecting copyright for artists. So if you see something that you can use, as you can see, I could use anything of those and download it for free. I can actually just go into it like this, and I can just right click, go copy image, and I can just go back to Canva and literally just go Control-V, and that's going to upload it to my account. Same goes for dragging. I don't know if I'm going to be able to drag. Yes. So as you can see, I've dragged it. I'm going to another tab in here, and again, I can just drop it to upload it to my account. Super cool, especially if you're, dragging something maybe from your website. Again, I do need to emphasize, make sure that you do have the right to use the images or the videos that you're pulling into Canva. Now, another thing that I want to show you is a special way of aligning your different elements, and especially if they're 3 or more elements selected. Now you can see that I've got these elements in here that are very similar, but they're not really aligned. So what I'm going to do is to first kind of group them together, but separately for each of those lines, so that I make sure that everything kind of gets dragged and repositioned correctly. And now what I want to do is to maybe kind of drag this one to the side to align it to all of my text. So just like this, I'm aligning it here. I'm aligning this one in here, but I want to make sure that the spaces in between those are actually perfect. So I've positioned number 1 to the spot that I want it in. The number 3 is kind of down here as well, but you can see that they're not even aligned on the sides properly. So I can just select all 3 of those. You can see that they're selected like this. Actually, this one is, so let's misalign it on purpose so you can see what Canva can do with it. So I'm going to just drag to select, go to position here at the top. And from here, if you have 3 or more elements selected, you can see another section appear within the position tab, and that's space evenly. This means that Canva helps you out in terms of your alignment for all those elements. And I can just hit my absolute favorite alignment option within Canva, and that's tidy up. Let's see what it does. I just clicked and it perfectly positioned all of them together. Not only are the spaces in between equal, but they're also perfectly aligned horizontally, vertically. Everything looks amazing, and it's based on the position of the top one and the bottom one in terms of the spacing that it gives us in between. Super, super cool. Now from here, I could group it further. So make sure that if you have 3 elements that are selected and the individual elements are grouped, you can further group them, but once you ungroup them, it will completely ungroup all of those elements. Just keep that in mind. So I can just group them in here, and I can just position it correctly kind of from this side. And as you can see, when I started dragging it kind of lower, what happened is you can see those kind of 54, 2 of the numbers showing up on that pink line. What that indicates is that in between the top element, in which case it's that paragraph introducing the Ultimate Personal Brand Guidebook, and then below we've got the link in bio, what it does is that it actually shows you the spaces in between those elements so that everything is nicely balanced. And this is exactly what I was looking for. Very important to know this, especially if you want to create nice balance within your designs. Now, another thing that I do want to show you is how to add links to your graphics. Now, before I show you how you can actually do it, one thing that you definitely need to understand is that links only work with PDF options when you download. So you cannot post this graphic on Instagram with a link attached within Canva, because if you download it as a JPEG or a PNG, which is a graphic format, and it doesn't support the links, it won't publish on Instagram because you cannot upload PDFs to Instagram. So these things only work when you create like a resource. For example, I've got the personal brand guidebook in here. If I created a PDF resource within Canva and linked certain things inside of it, then the people who would open that PDF, they would be able to see the links. If you actually go and download this as a JPEG or, any other of the graphic formats, you won't be able to actually use those links. So please do bear that in mind. Now, how to actually add a link within Canva. This has changed recently. So before you were able to do it from the top, now within the text, you have to select a text box or any other boxes. Actually, I'll show that to you in a minute. Right click on it, and then you go to a link here at the bottom. As you can see, Control K is the shortcut for it. I highly recommend you do use shortcuts because the more you use them, the quicker you design within Canva. Now I go to link in here. I just click on it and I can just type in my link in here. I'm just going to attach it in here and I just click away. And as you can see for the text boxes, what that does is that it creates that underline. If you want to get rid of that underline, just simply select it, go to underline here at the top, just toggle it, and that's going to remove that underline, but the link does remain. You will be able to again see it in here and it's still here. You can always copy that link and remove it if you want to remove it. Now, what if I don't want people to be able to only click on the link in bio in here, but if they click on that button, they won't be able to actually click that link within my PDF? No, this is definitely not what we want. So I'm going to link it for that box below as well. So again, right click, go to link, paste like this and just hit enter, and that created it. Of course, there's nothing to underline, so you don't need to worry about it. Of course, you could do the same thing for images. You can right click, click link, do the same thing. You can do it for all of those elements. And again, please bear in mind that if you are exporting it and if you want that link to work, it needs to be a PDF. Now, another way you can see that this is actually a linked element is that when you click on that text box or on other of the boxes, you'll see link in here, and that's going to pull up the same thing, and you will be able to open that link in a new tab, which means that you will be able to see that this is a linked element. If I do it for here, you don't see that link option, which means it's not linked. Incredible, amazing. Now let's move on to actually downloading our designs. Now you can see that I've got 3 different kind of designs in here. Again, you can preview them from the grid view here at the bottom. You can close it, you can kind of go back up in here, and I've got these 3 different designs that we've just created. Now, I want you to know that I actually went for Quincy in here, and this is the font, Quincy, and I actually went, I think, for something that is pro within this design so that I can actually show you what it looks like when you don't have a pro account, but you actually try to download this specific design with those elements. Now, what you want to do to download your designs within Canva is to go to share in the top right corner in here, and then below you've got download. Now download in here, you've got so many different file types as the options. First of all, you've got JPEGs. We all know JPEGs. This is kind of a very easy format to use. I love using PNGs for every one of my social media posts. That is a graphic because it's more complex, it carries more data, it's better quality in general. Now, if I wanted to export the links, so if this whole design was supposed to become a PDF and I wanted those links to be active, I would definitely go for PDF standard, and you do need to make sure that you're not flattening it. Now, in terms of flattening your PDF, sometimes the professional printers will require you to flatten the PDF, which is an option in here. You can also include notes if you've got any notes within your design. And there's also PDF print, which is best for printing. Remember those the bleed that I've shown you from the file from view settings, and here show print bleed. You can see that it kind of goes beyond. I can stretch out this one to make sure that the printer prints it correctly, just like this. You can see that it adds that bleed from here. And if I share it, I download, and again, I go to PDF print, I would be able to add those crop marks, flatten the PDF, and I can even choose the color profile, change it to CMYK, but this is a pro only feature, but some professional printers will require the CMYK space, which is a better option for professional printing. Then we have SVG, which is a pro only format. This is for web design. If you're, creating a logo, for example, within Canva, and you want to have that vector available, this is a vector format. If you download it, this will allow it to be used on, again, websites for your logos. If you're downloading a video, which we'll move on to in just a second, this is MP4 video, and then also you can create a GIF, so you can export it. Of course, all of those will have different options like this. Now, I'm going to go for PNG for this one. Please disregard the link. It's not going to work with this option. Now, without the Canva Pro, you won't have the option to kind of upsize it, because sometimes you may want that to be in a bigger resolution. You won't be able to do it. There's a transparent background option with Canva Pro, so you would be able to just download the element without that background. So for example, if you have something on a white background or a black background, you could just pull something without that background, save it as a PNG, and that will kind of create that transparent element, which is super cool. And that's available for Canva Pro. And then you can select pages from here. So you can select all pages to download. You can actually select only the current page, or you can select specific pages. Now, I know that this one has some pro elements. So if I go again to download, you can see that your design contains premium content. So you can either try Canva Pro for free, or you would be able to purchase Pro content license for this specific font. Now, the majority of the elements that I've seen are kind of around £1, but of course this is a font, so it's a bit of a different game. If you only need something for one design, you can just pay this one once for £4.95, as you can see in British pounds, and you will be able to just use it for that one design. Of course, I think if you look at the price for kind of Canva Pro versus those one-time purchases, it definitely works out better if you're just paying for Canva Pro, because it gives you access to all of those amazing things without paying anything extra. But if I just want to download that kind of non-pro page from here, I will be able to just go to PNG, hit download, and as you can see, it just pulls up that download and saves it to your computer. And let me just show you the finished look for this particular design. You can just go to full screen in here, and this is what it looks like. Pretty decent in here, and we've created all of that with Canva free, with a free account. Let's move on to creating animated graphics. Now, if I wanted to actually change that one into an animated graphics, there are a few things that I can do. If I go to the Elements tab again here in the left panel, I will be able to search for something like a sticker, for example. You have multiple graphics available within Canva that are actually animated elements, and it's a super easy way to add animations into your design. I can actually go to filters in here within my search bar and go for animated just to see the ones that are actually animated, and I can, try to kind of work with it. For example, I can actually filter by that specific color. Let's see if I've got anything that works like this. Oh, perfect. Okay, we've got link in bio one. I don't necessarily like the reddish one, but never mind. Let it work like this, and I can actually just add it like this, and that's going to be an animated design that I can use for social media. Now, another great way to actually put your whole design into motion and create an animated social media graphic is to add animations for the text boxes or any of the elements that you've got available on the screen. Now, I can just go for page level animation, which means I want to just select the background of my post, and then I can go to animate here at the top, and now you've got all the different options to animate all of your different designs. These are combination animations, which means that it's kind of simultaneously animating different elements in different styles. So this is quite a cool kind of option for this. Now, another thing that you can do, so for example, these two elements, as you can see, are not grouped. So I can group my photo below and the layer above. And I can also make sure that I select my text and my line, and I group those because this is going to make sure that they animate together and it's not kind of awkwardly animating different elements. Now, I've selected both of them and hit Control G for another cool shortcut, super useful for grouping. And now I've grouped it, and you can see that in the layers, it appears as the same element. If I go to overlapping, you can see what overlaps in here. Now, if I go back to my animation on the page level, I can go in here and you can see that they will animate together. You no longer see those lines with the text animating separately. Now, another way to actually animate is to animate on the individual elements level as opposed to the whole page. And that arguably is a better way of animating. By the way, I have a whole video just about Canva animations. I go much more in detail. So if you're interested in that type of a Canva design, make sure you watch this video. I'll put it up in the card. Now, in here, if I just select this element, and if I want to select that specific frame, I can just go to animate in here. As you can see in here, these are different styles of animations that you can use just on that individual level. And if I wanted something like baseline, for example, if I click on it, you'll be able to first animate on entry, on exit, and both. So these are the three options. So for example, if it's a whole video that you're creating and this is one part, like one clip of your video, this will animate on enter and on exit. So it's going to go away. Then for Pro, you will be able to change the speed and the direction and reverse exit animation as well if you want that to be on both in here. So this is not a Pro Pro. Actually, this is a free feature, so you will be able to just do it in here like this. Now there's an exaggeration, neon, play around with those and see if there's something that you might be able to kind of make work for your specific design. But I want you to pay attention to this option in here. This is absolutely incredible. I love how this feature really changes the game for animations within Canva. And this is called create an animation. So what I can do with this, if I just click on it, I will be able to drag my element the way I want, and it will literally animate it the way I move it. Of course, it doesn't really work that well for this animation, but bear with me. You can go for a smooth style. You can go for a steady style, just like this. You can also orient element to path. So, I was rotating quite a lot in here, so it's just kind of moving it around. And you can adjust the speed like this. And this is a free option. I can do the same thing for my animations in terms of my lines. I can go for, wipe like this. This is quite a cool effect, especially for those, the text boxes like this. As I can, again, go to animate, and I can just do it for kind of like a wipe in here. Super cool. Play around with it. And of course, if you do want to retain your animations after you're done, you do need to make sure that you're downloading it as an MP4. So this needs to be a video to retain those animations. I can just go for carousel number 2 for this one, download it, and that's going to be my video. And of course, if you want to preview, you can always go to the full screen, and you can see that animation kind of happening on entry in here. And if I wanted to go out, it would animate on exit as well. Now let's move on to creating videos. This is super cool that we've got that option within Canva. So I'm just going to go to the home page, go to the videos tab. But of course, you can go to create a design, pull up like Instagram Reel, for example. I'm just going to go in here to create a mobile video. Let's create blank. And as you can see, our editor is slightly different. Now we've got the bottom panel in here, which means that you will be able to see the individual slides and actually kind of adjust them. So let me show this to you in just a second, but good tip, always name your designs first. I'm going to say Instagram Reel, and that's going to be daily vlog. I'm going to show this to you based on the elements available from within the Canva library, but know that you can actually upload your own videos into Canva and actually create reels, create TikToks, create, short form video content, longer form video content. You can do all of this within the Canva editor with your own files. Now, if you want to find some elements that are actually video, you just go to elements in here, scroll down, and these are videos in here. There's also audio available if you want to add music. If I want something from within the videos, I can actually go and search, again, my favorite thing, aesthetic. I always use it for everything. Bear with me. Now, I have a vertical resolution in here, so I can just simply go to filters and I can choose vertical from here, and that's going to only pull up vertical files. Now, what I want to do is to just put that clip from here into my canvas, and that's going to add that layer. Now, once I added this, you can see that my page changed in here just because this clip is a little bit longer. This is 9.2 seconds. And if this panel right here is a little bit too big or too small for you, you can always toggle this little icon in here to zoom thumbnails instead of zoom page. By the way, this is not available for your standard view just because this is not a video, of course. And in here, you will be able to just go to zoom thumbnails, and you will be able to kind of stretch it out or make it smaller, make it bigger from here. Very useful if you're using kind of multiple different clips and you want to make sure that you're getting granular with them. Okay, so I've added this little clip. I want more of those clips. I want something else. So let's go for autumn. Let's say I want to use this one as a second clip. I can just kind of drag it in here to put another one like this. You could just move on, and you can see that if I just tap in here and I just hit space, I'm going to be able to play it. And as easy as that, it changes into a different frame. So this is how you add new frames to each of your videos. Now, let's say this clip is actually too long for my short form video content. So I'm just going to drag this side in here just to make sure that it's going to be much, much shorter. I actually like this specific movement that she's making over the mug. So I can actually do the exact same thing from the left side, and that's going to trim it from the other side. Let's say I want it to be like 2 seconds or something, just like this, and that goes to another place. Now I can kind of move around this timeline in here just to make sure that I'm catching some nice movement. So again, I think she's dragging her fingers across the text from here. So another way of shortening a clip like this would be to actually split it. So if you want to split this whole clip, you can actually just right click it and then select split page, or as you can see, there's a shortcut for it. So when you're in the position that you want it to be split, simply hit S, and actually that's going to split it. What I can do from here now is to move it around. For example, if I want both of those to be on the other sides, I can kind of move around, change the positioning of this clip on the timeline, but I don't want this actually, so I'm just gonna remove it. And maybe from this side, again, I'm gonna just shorten it to around 2.3 seconds. Now, another way of trimming your clips would be to actually select the video, select the clip that you've just entered in here, and go to the top panel from here, and then go to this timeline. And then from here, you can not only kind of drag it, so even if I've already trimmed it, I can move around that specific place. Maybe I actually want this part to kind of be included within the video. And of course, you can drag the sides from here as well to create that specific trim that you want. Now, in terms of what you can do with video, you can go to edit video here, and you've got the background remover, which is a super cool option, but it's a pro only option. So I'll discuss this in just a second. Now you've got filters, so you can apply different types of filters to your design. And actually, this is kind of cool if you've got different styles or maybe raw footage that you've created yourself. And to make it a little bit more cohesive, you can actually apply the same types of filters to them. So I can go to solar and go to something around 30. Mind you, these are from the Canva library. So that means that this is actually already probably color corrected. So I'm just going to revert back to the original, but know that this is what you can do with the video. Let's go back to edit video in here. And from the top, there's another panel, which is called adjust. And from adjust, remember when I've shown you what you can do with photos, this is very reminiscent of this. You can change the warmth, change the tint. So instead of using those filters, you can actually change kind of the vibe of the photo yourself from here. And of course, if you mess up, if you don't like what you've created, let's say, I've changed everything and I don't like it, you can always reset it from down here below. Another very important option for videos is playback. Now, from playback, you'll be able to adjust the video speed. As you could see, these were slowed down, so maybe I want them to play much, much quicker. Mind you, this will shorten your clip because it's playing 2 times as fast. You can also loop forever if you're using it for a presentation, or you can use autoplay and presentation if you're presenting from within Canva. Now, I'm gonna go for that 2 times speed, and I'm gonna stretch it out back to around 2.3, just like that. And you can see that's much, much faster. I can see that movement actually happening. Let's see if I can go to this playback and if it's going to make sense. I think it's a little bit too shaky, so maybe 1.5 would do. And let's go back to 2.3, just like this. And you can see that it plays much, much quicker. So it's a super cool option to make sure that you're creating something a little bit more cohesive. Now, this is not actually all that you can do with your videos. You can actually add any of the elements from the library. You can add text as well. I'm going to show this to you in Draw because I've not really shown you the potential for Draw within your design. So I'm just going to go and toggle zoom page so I've got a bit more of a zoom. The quality is not going to be the greatest just because it's a preview. And let's say I want to create something kind of a little bit more fun. Mind you, I'm working with a traditional mouse, so it's not going to be kind of as nice. Something like this, I can add a little line in here and on the bow. Just like this, maybe something for this hand because I know this one's not moving. So I can create those kind of drawn elements. And when I go back to the elements, you can actually see that what I drew is actually a standalone element, and I can then go back and actually change the color for it. But I'm gonna stick with the white in here. Let's look for something like hearts within the graphics. I can go for graphics and maybe go for something drawn just like this. I'm just gonna change the color just like that. And let's go for text actually. Now I'm gonna change the font to something a little bit more kind of funky. Let's see if this is gonna work. Yes, absolutely it's gonna work. Go for white in here, maybe space it out a little bit more in terms of the letters. And now I want to show you the effects for text. I've not really discussed this before, but within text, you've got so many different effects that you can use to make it nicer. Now you've got shadow to kind of obviously add shadow below it. You can change the color for this shadow. And here, I'm just gonna go for black in here. You can blur it out just as you can see in here. You can change the transparency so it's much more kind of bold in here. You can change the direction. I think the light is coming from the right side. So I'm gonna kind of move it a little bit to the left side as it would naturally fall. And you can change the offset in here as well. You can also go in here for document colors. I'm going to pick something a little bit more brownish so that it goes with the style. This is what you can do within Canva with your text. There's also lift, which just gives you a little bit of a lift in here behind. It's a black lift. Then you've got hollow. Super cool effect. It just creates that outline for you, and you can adjust the thickness. There's splice, so you can actually, below that outline that hollow created almost, you can actually adjust again the thickness of that line, but you can also have that kind of little element underneath. So I can go for something a little bit like this orange in here. And if I go back, I can offset it. So you can see that it goes kind of a little bit outside of those outlines. You can change direction again. I think it looks quite cool with this specific design. You've got outline. Again, you can change the color of this outline. I can go for something like red, and it just kind of makes it a little bit bolder outside. There's echo. You can see that when I offset it a little bit more and change the direction, you see what it creates. There's glitch for something a little bit kind of almost 3D-ish, and there are two styles for this. There's neon, which I really, really like. There's this intensity that you can change, and of course, you can change background. But let me go back to my splice. I think this is what I want to maybe use for this specific element, and I'm just gonna go for something a little bit more muted, just like this. Now, another cool thing within the effect is the curve effect. So you can actually go ahead and curve your text. This allows you to create waves if you have, two of those. So for example, if I had two of those words separately, let me just actually create separate words from those. So I'm just gonna duplicate and remove these two. I could create something, like this, for example, where I've got one over the other. Then I can go to effects and reverse that one. So this can go a little bit to this side, and this can go a little bit to that side. And when I put them together, that just created a wavy text. Super cool effect. You can play around with it. This is a very popular one within Canva. So I highly recommend you play around with those effects and see if there's something that really works with your design. Now I'm putting this in here, and another thing that you need to know about the video editing is that you can actually right click this element and then go to show timing. What that's going to do is to show it within your kind of timeline here at the bottom, and you can actually shorten it so that it appears at a certain point. You can see that it appeared in the middle of this frame like this. So if I just go like that, it just shows up, and I can actually add animations further to it. I can go for something like shift. This is a little bit more fun. I think it would look really cool with the character writing style, but of course we don't have Canva Pro for this one. I'm going to show you what it looks like later on. There's a typewriter. I really like this style in here. So let's choose this one, and let's see what it looks like. So it starts like this, and then it adds that text. So there are so many amazing ways in which you can actually make your videos work. I feel like this is so cool because this is what being creative is really all about. You add your own flair to anything that you create in here. So I could go in here and say something like my routine 4, and then it's going to say cozy autumn, right? So I'm going to just change that timing in here. Again, if you don't see something, just right click on it and go to show timing, and it's going to appear in here. So I'm just going to do it like this. My routine 4, that disappears, cozy autumn, and it's going away. Now there's another thing that you need to know when you're creating videos in Canva, and that's transitions. Now to add transitions, you just need to hover between the 2 slides on your timeline and then hit add transition. And from here, another panel shows up, which lets you create the different transitions. So you can dissolve, you can slide, you can circle wipe, so many different options in here that will help you kind of create a nice flow within that design. So I'm just going to go for dissolve in here. If I had more, there would be another thing in here saying apply to all, and that's an easy way to just apply the same style. I can actually go for duration. So it's a kind of shorter duration, which means that it's not going to take that long of a time. So this is what it looks like. Super cool. Very quick kind of demo for how you can edit. Of course, there are so many other parts of Canva that I won't be able to cover fully in here, since this video would have like at least 5 hours. If you'd like me to create a tutorial like this for you on, Canva whiteboards, presentations, video editing, anything else you'd find useful, drop me a comment down below to let me know. Now, what I want to talk about next is Canva Free versus Canva Pro. Of course, in terms of Canva Free, you can use it indefinitely. It's always going to be there. But I think for creators of really a variety of different kinds, I think Canva Pro adds that extra layer of efficiency and extra layer of uniqueness to your designs, and it can really help you design in better ways. And that's why I want to highlight some of the best features that are available there. Now, let me jump in here to tell you what the differences in here are. Now, as you can see, Canva Free is, of course, free. Canva Pro is £12.99 in pounds per month. You can see the different kind of currencies in here on screen. Yearly, that's 100 per person. And I really think for what you get inside of it, especially if you take into account the individual elements for Pro, if you wanted to kind of use, 1 per month or 2 per month or a few per month, that would really very quickly get up to the price that you would normally pay per month. And as you can see in here, there are so many different options in terms of like what you've got access to. So for example, on the free account, you have 1+ million free photos and graphics available, while for Pro, there is actually 100+ million premium stock photos, videos, audio, graphics, and more. So much more that you can use within Canva Pro. There's also a brand kit, magic switch, background removal options, and there are conversion options, scheduler. I'm gonna go through all of those just now because I really think that these features are really, really game changing. To start your Canva Pro trial, you can check out the link in the description box. I'm just going to go to try Canva Pro for free in here. This one gives you 30 days. This is a classic, but again, I think those 15 days extra that you can get really do make a difference. So you can use the one in the description, and I'm going to go to start my free trial. I'll go for monthly in here and go to next. And as you can see, you do have to enter your card, but there is a reminder 7 days before the trial ends. So you will be able to actually cancel it beforehand if this is not something that you want to use in the future. And this is why really this trial exists, because you can then test these things out and see if they are applicable for your specific use case. Otherwise, there's no need. So I'm just going to do it now. Again, from here, you'll be able to add people to your team. There is a different price tier as far as I know for Canva for Teams. I'll go for a maybe later. And again, start or grow a business is my choice in here. Welcome to Canva Pro. Now, the first thing that I absolutely love about Canva Pro is the background remover. Now, I'm going to add this image in here from the library, and I can go to edit photo here at the top, and you've got the background remover. Now from here, if I just click on it in a flash, it actually removes the background from it, and I can use it within my design to create anything that I want with it. Now, I've not really discussed that much in terms of the photo editor in here. There are so many incredible features. I will be doing more breakdowns in terms of this panel in here. So make sure to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss this one. And I can do something fun like, add shadows, and actually within shadows, you can add an outline. So I can change the size in here. I can go for that white border that you know very well. I can do a blur if I wanted to, but I'm just gonna stick with this. Intensity you can change in here, so it can be slightly transparent, just like this. And I can then just reposition my photo like this, kind of make it bigger, make it smaller, just to make sure that that edge is not really visible in here. And if I, add text, I can kind of play around with it and do something really, really fun. Now from here, you can see that I've got access to all the different kind of features, all the different fonts. You've got the elements, and you can still see the crown, but that crown is no longer yellow. It's actually just kind of whitish, so you know that you are on Canva Pro. Now, another thing that I want to show you is the magic switch. Now, the magic switch option lets you not only translate all of your designs, so you can actually, if you've got text like this, I can go to translate, select a specific page. So I'm going to go for this one in here, and then go for Polish, because I'm Polish and I will always represent my Polish folk out there. So I'm just going to go for translate existing design without creating copy. Let's go to translate like this. Now, of course, it can affect the length of the words, which means that you may need to adjust it, but overall, this looks pretty good. I can just kind of change things up. This is not actually the word that it should be used, but never mind. It's just because we don't use that word very often. But never mind, you've got all of this translated in here with just a click. Another thing within the magic switch is the fact that you can actually transform it into a doc. So I've mentioned that there are actually docs, like Word docs almost, within Canva. So you can create documents, which is super cool. And Magic Switch with AI, it actually helps you kind of transform it into a different type of a document. So you can create a summary, a blog post, an email, a poem, a song lyrics, and you can just transform it from within here. It's a super cool option. And then you can also resize. So this is super cool if you're on social media in any capacity, and you sometimes create designs that will be posted on different platforms. Now, if I wanted to change this one for like a Facebook post, for example, I can go to social media from here below, or I can just actually start typing Facebook post from here. So I'm just going to go for Facebook post landscape, but the bigger one in here. I'll go for continue. You'll get the preview. Of course, the AI needs to do its magic. And I'm going to go for copy and resize because I want to create a copy. Of course, there are multiple kind of different images in here. Not all of them are going to work, but say I want to, create something of this kind, I could just move this around and that's going to be brilliant. Of course, something like this will not work because I've created those boundaries, specifically for this image, but something like this, I'm going to select all of those in here and just kind of drag it to the side. And I can actually, change things up in here. I can make it bigger, just like this. Maybe I could move those kind of elements from below to the side like this. There is a bit of customization, of course, especially when you're going from something that was vertical to something that's horizontal. But I could go easily for kind of something like this. And that's my whole design changed in just a second. I don't need to copy stuff over. I don't need to recreate that design. It's just there for me. This is why I love Magic Switch. Now, another thing that you need to be aware of, and something that I absolutely love within Canva, is that Canva has a brand kit, which really lets you manage all of your assets for your brand, stay on brand every time you design. And it's actually super easy to, kind of apply any of your branding to any of the templates from within the library. So let me show you how to set up a brand kit from Canva Pro. Now on the homepage, you can go to the brand tab here in the left panel. Once you click on it, you will be able to set up your brand kit. You also have access to brand templates, and there are some brand controls. So if you're working within a team, you can control how your brand is actually applied to the different templates. Now I can go to set up your brand kit, and from here you will be able to add all of the different sections of your brand kit from within here, and that really creates your whole kind of library of assets. Now you can upload your logo in here easily by just clicking add new upload logos, or you can add a logo from here like this. You can actually create your own color palette. First, let me change the name of this brand kit. Let's go for beachy vibes, whatever. This is gonna work for this brand kit in here. I can then add it to a folder, which is super important when you're, a social media manager, for example, and you're managing multiple assets. You can set up those brand kits for your clients separately, and then attach this brand kit to a specific folder so that everything is neatly organized for you within the Canva account. Then you can drag your logo in here. I don't have a logo, but I do have my color palette, and I'm going to show you a super quick tip on how you can quickly apply your palettes. I can just put in here in the logos, and Canva will automatically grab my colors from this palette. Now I can keep it, but I can see that there are more in here, so I can just keep adding them, the colors within that palette in here, and I can change the name of my palette from this page in here. Then I can add my font. So from here, I can just go for my favorite in here, Quincy. That's the one that I really wanted. I can change that title to Quincy so I know that it's here. I can go for something like 56 in here. You can make it bold, you can make it italic so that every time you use it, it's going to be the correct one. And then for the subheading, I don't want a subtitle. I will go for a subheading, or for body actually, because I just have two to show you in here. So I'll go for Avenir. That's the second one that I wanted to use in here. Let me just leave it as that, and you can just actually save it like this, and you've got two of those fonts, but of course you can use all the different varieties in here. Then you've got Magic Write with brand voice. You can actually add your brand voice. You can actually describe the guidelines for how your brand voice should sound, and then you can use AI to write with your voice. Super cool option in here. Then you can add photos, any graphics that you use for your brands, any icons, all of them can be set up from here. Okay, so I've quickly set it up just so you can show you what it looks like. I've pulled up a logo from Canva without even changing it. I've updated the palette. I've added the brand voice for this brand and uploaded some of the photos. And I want to show you what it looks like when you're actually designing with your brand kit from within the editor. So when I go back to my Instagram post in here, I can actually pull up any of the templates from the design tab. I found this one, which happens to be just a branding one. Never mind though. And if I go to the brand tab in here, you can see that I've got all of my kind of brand assets available very, very quickly. Now, the first thing you can do is to actually click on your palette, and that's going to allow you to just apply all of your beautiful color palettes to the design with one click. You can actually then start shuffling so that it kind of creates different varieties in here. And as you can see, this is super, super cool. Now, what I can also do is to go to the design and go to the styles tab in here, and I can go for brand fonts like this. So you can see that I've got my Avenir fonts applied from here below. And if I go to this text right here, it changed it to Avenir in here, but you will be able to see that I've got my own kind of beachy vibes for some reason, the brand kit applied in here. So I can actually go for Quincy in here, and that is going to apply this specific font. as my kind of main font that I use. So super cool, super easy to just kind of, attach it in here. And if I go back to the brand kit, I actually have all of those photos available too. So I can just drag them. And this is how easy it is to actually just customize templates. There's actually so much more to upholding your brand within Canva. If you want me to create a video like this, make sure to drop a comment down below. I'm always super open to suggestions. So if this is something that would be important to you, let me know down below. Okay, moving on to my last absolute favorite tool within Canva, that is a Canva Pro option, is within the apps panel, and that's a content planner. Now, I don't know if you've realized this, but you can actually schedule posts from within Canva to be published automatically on your social media platforms. Super cool. It makes the whole workflow so much easier, and you can actually do it from within the post itself. So let me go back to my Instagram post in here. Now, if I go to share in here, I can actually go down to the options in here and I can go for schedule. And from here, as you can see with the crown, there's the option to actually just use it for your accounts. Now, this will prompt you to connect your Instagram business account. You can do all of it in here, and then it actually lets you just schedule your posts to your account, which is super, super cool. It just gets posted automatically. You can also go to that content planner from the homepage, and this will allow to just kind of get any of your recent posts like this and any of the templates, and you can just connect it, and then it lets you schedule it. And it's super, super cool because this is how you can maintain that consistent presence online with Canva. And again, the whole workflow is within Canva itself. And that's why I think Canva Pro really is worth it. Now, another thing that I do want to highlight is the Learn tab on the homepage. This is only available through the website, through your browser. You won't see it within the apps. But if you go to this Learn tab, you'll see the design school. There are tutorials and different courses. There are events happening from time to time. There's a blog with different kind of resources and articles. You can see the different kind of, flyer makers, logo makers in here. So this is a great space to explore. There's also a Canva group which you can join, and there are loads of amazing people in there just sharing their tips. There are also people kind of asking questions, troubleshooting certain things, asking for feedback on their design. So this is a cool space to really be in and collaborate with other creators. And of course, you'll also learn much more about Canva for social media and business from my upcoming course. So sign up on the waitlist today. Subscribe to my channel to continue your Canva journey, since I have so many useful tutorials here already. You can check out this playlist right here. I am a Canva verified expert, so I do share a lot about Canva. And if you've stayed with me till this point, know that I really, really appreciate you. Hit that like button and drop me "I got this" in the comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.